Silver and Blue Huddle is back on a Victory Monday. Richblkman, so amazing. We are back and we're here on good terms, and I'm excited. I'm happy. It was a long night staying up until 1 o'clock in the morning to see my Cowboys pull off the dub. And I must say, I was kind of afraid. I thought that it was going to go back and be the same old Cowboys and lose a game that we should have won. But I'm happy that we won, so I'm not even going to dwell on that. Victory Monday. It kind of reminds me of a church song back in the day when my mama made me go to church every single Sunday when she was talking about victory is mine. Victory is mine. Yes, victory for the Cowboys is today. So I'm excited about that, man. Our Cowboys pulled it off. We did kind of make the game a little bit harder than what it needed to be. The game should have been a blowout. It started a little bit late due to weather or whatever, and I thought that was going to be a concern for the Cowboys team, but it really wasn't because the game should have been put away very early. Like, we shouldn't really be talking about how close this game was. We left points on the field. We had turnovers, self-inflicted wounds almost cost us this game, but I'm glad we was able to put it off. We overcame a lot of different other things, and I'm just excited that the Cowboys are able to pull off this victory. So, Eds, you tell me how you feel. You tell me what was you doing at 1:52 a.m. in the morning on that fourth and goal. Would you sleep or would you awake?
Well, the good thing is that since I'm in Central Time, it was only 12 o'clock. It was it was a little bit earlier in the night. Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? At no point should this game have been a 3-point game, right? You throw an interception in the red zone when CeeDee Lamb is wide open. You just got to put some air underneath the football or get it to him a little sooner. You have a fumble on your side of the field. You throw another pick trying to force the ball down the field to Tolbert. And so you get a block kick. I mean, there were so many things that you look up and you're like, okay, we left at least 17 points off the board just because we make mental mistakes, right? And so you can't have that from Dak Prescott. And he said the same thing. I can't turn the ball over there. He said the same thing. So, you love to hear that from your quarterback taking ownership, which he always does, no matter what. When they win, he gives praise to other guys. When they lose, he takes the blame for it. And then you talk about the last drive. I mean, that's what you expect from your $60 million quarterback, right? He drives you right down the field. He's throwing screens. He's got Rico Dowdle. He's audibling. He's moving guys around. He's finding Tolbert. He's finding CeeDee Lamb. He finds Jake Ferguson on a big 3rd and 9. I mean, there was a lot of things good in that last drive. The problem is that you're one mistake away from losing that game to the Steelers in that last drive, and Dak has to be perfect. But then Rico Dowdle has a fumble. There's just some things that happen in that football game that put you on the edge of your seat as a Cowboy fan. I tell people all the time, I get ulcers every single year because of these Cowboys, because this is what they do to us. A team, now listen, you can talk about no Micah Parsons, no Deron Bland, no DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, you can talk about all the pieces. No Brandon Cooks on offense. Guyton gets hurt. Zach Martin is hurt throughout the game. Terrence Steele does not play. I mean, there's so many things you can talk about. But when you look at the other side of the football, it's Justin Fields with 3 of their best offensive linemen not playing. We should have dominated this game on both sides of football. Yes, do the Steelers have a good defense? Obviously, they got a good defense. But the Cowboys were able to move the ball up and down the field. We talk about all the time. From the 20-yard line to the 20-yard line, we are one of the best football teams in the world.
Facts.
But inside that 20-yard line, when it comes time in that red zone, we continue to have struggles, and I don't understand it. They're going to have to fix some of those things because the schedule doesn't get any easier. You got some tough games coming up. But as, Rich said, a win on a Monday is always a better thing than us having to go to work when the Cowboys lose, because it's always funny when I go to work and the Cowboys lose. All the Cowboy haters find a way to see me at work. Right. But on Victory Monday, it's really like I got to search out for people. Nobody wants to come see me in the office. They leave me alone. The Cowboys win. Nobody wants to come and give me a hard time. So it's always good when the Cowboys win. I just wish it wouldn't have to been this close versus this Steelers team.
Right, and I fully agree with you as well. Like we was able to move the ball up and down the field until we got to the 20, and then something crazy happened. A fumble happened, an interception happened, and I'm very proud of the offense. As far as maybe it has a lot to do with play calling because the way, and we was talking about it before the show started, but the way that the offense was able to produce and actually make quick plays, quick reads, and not allow T.J. Watt to be in Dak Prescott every single down was kind of huge because even though T.J. Watt did set the record for sacks as far as like 100 sacks or whatever, but he was not in Dak Prescott as much as I thought he would be, and that's
Yeah,
because Dak Prescott got the ball out quick. They either ran the ball, they either got like short passes, took some shots downfield or whatever, but I think them only taking 3-step drops back like really helped out a lot because normally Dak could drop back 5 to 7 steps, but this time it was 3 and the ball was out every single time. So that might actually
yeah,
caught the Steelers off guard a little bit with how quickly the Cowboys is playing this game because one of the benefits to that was actually the run game. We was able to get something going on the ground. Rico Dowd had a fantastic game. Zeke had a few series as well. We was able to get the run game going and be able to get some positive yards and stick with it. Normally we have good positive yards on the run game and we stop running the ball. Like obviously
yeah,
we knew coming into this game the Cowboys had to have great play from Dak Prescott. They got that until he turned the ball over. He was able to move the ball down the field and then he happened to either got a fumble or he threw an interception. But overall, we knew this had to be a Dak Prescott game. And it was. And he also got the benefit of the defense. We was missing key players, Michael Parsons, no D-Law, but a lot of those guys actually stepped up and played pretty well. So maybe that was a defensive scheme. But I love the way the defense played. I love the way the offense called plays and got the ball out quickly. And it was just an overall great game. It was a lot closer than what it should be.
yeah,
It should have been a blowout in the first half, at least 21-3 going into the half, maybe a little bit like worse than that. But it's the Cowboys. Normally, when this stuff happens, this is not a game that the Cowboys win. It's a loss every single
yeah.
time. So I'm glad we was able to turn that narrative around and actually get this W. But I'm proud of the team. I'm proud of Dak Prescott. He made a lot of mistakes, but at the end of the day, all people gonna remember is just his one play that he made at the very end. And you know what? I'm tired of the media and I'm tired of other Cowboy haters moving the goalposts back every time the Cowboys win. Because before this game started, we had to hear how great the Steelers was, how great of a turnaround Justin Fields is having this year under Mike Tomlin. But all of a sudden, when the Cowboys beat them, all of a sudden, hey, they just the Steelers. Hey, he just
Yeah.
Justin Fields. He could make mistakes. But I thought the whole narrative was that the Cowboys couldn't beat a team with a winning record. To my knowledge, the Steelers was 3-1 coming into last night, and now they 3-2. So they still a good
Yeah. And,
team. They decent.
and everybody picked the Steelers last night to win that football
Everybody.
game. And I get it. I get it. The Cowboys are struggling. They got no run game. You talk about Rico Dowdle. Finally, a running back for the Cowboys gets 20 plus carries in a game and actually does well. He has 87 yards on the ground. He also catches the football really well out the backfield, has a touchdown from Dak Prescott. I think the big thing for me is we've heard me say on this podcast before, what are the others going to do, right? I know what I'm going to get out of CeeDee Lamb. I know what I'm getting out of Dak Prescott. I know I'm getting out of Jake Ferguson. Where are the others, right? And the others finally showed up. The Tolberts, the Dowdles showed up. The Lupkes, they finally got Turpin into the ball game and used that speed to their advantage.
Yep.
Finally, they find Turpin for 4 catches for 50 yards. This is what I'm talking about. We got to start using some of this other talent, take some pressure off of CeeDee Lamb. Is CeeDee Lamb going to get open? Yes, he's going to find ways to get open, but you got to find a way to get the other guys involved. Then you look at the defensive side of the football. Demario Overshown continues to prove he is one of the best young linebackers in the NFL. He is flying around the football. He has that energy, that effort that we need on this defense. The back end, you got Donovan Wilson coming and making plays. Malik Hooker's making plays. I was so impressed with the way the defense really stepped up and played. Did the Steelers have a run game? Yeah, they got like 90 plus yards, but they had to earn every yard that they got it. When I looked at the stats today, I was like, man, they ran for almost 100 yards. It didn't feel like that in the game to me. And then obviously, anytime you can make Justin Fields a drop back passer in the NFL, I still think that's his weak spot. as a quarterback? Is he really good about creating plays and extending plays? Yeah, he's really good at that stuff. But when you make him just a straight drop back, make a read, throw a football, he still has proven he's not very good at that. And that's what the Cowboys did. Got him in some third and long positions, made him throw the football. There are some things I don't like, though. We still have got to tidy up this stupid penalty crap. Way too many penalties for the Cowboys, and that is a discipline thing for me. The false starts, the holdings, the personal fouls, the jumping off sides, the passing. I mean, just way too many penalties for this Dallas Cowboy team. But at the end of the day, when you go into an NFL game on the road in a hostile environment in Pittsburgh versus a team that was 3-1, you get the weather delay at the beginning, which completely screws up your entire momentum and the way you prepare for a game. Everything is so regimented in the NFL, and for you to have to wait that amount of time, go back in the locker room, come back out, go back in, it messes with your focus a little bit. It's a little bit easier when you're at home. It's your home stadium. It's your home fans. They're rowdy. They're loud. I was impressed to see the Cowboys buckle down and win these football games, because these are games in the past years the Cowboys find a way to lose those ball games. And this last night, they found a way when the clock is running down. The Steelers just went down the field and put the ball in the end zone and go up, right? They go up 17-13. And you're thinking, okay, what do we do now? The block kick was huge at that point for me, because if they would have made the kick off the block kick, all they need is a field goal. And when you got the best kicker in NFL and Brandon Aubrey, I feel more comfortable. But now you need to go get 7. So you can't make a mistake. You're without Brandon Cooks. Tyler Guyton is now out of the game. TJ Bass is now playing. Zach Martin is hurt. He's not full strength. And they go down there and Dak takes him right down the field. And here's the thing that impressed me the most about Tolbert. It didn't get talked about enough today in sports media when I was watching. Tolbert got hurt on the third down play. He's hurt. They were about to run a play, and the Cowboys finally took the timeout for the fourth down play because he's hurt. His hand is hurt. He's done something in this game. And I'm like, get Tolbert out of there. And so then Tolbert comes back into the game after the timeout. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's just going to be a decoy. Steelers are obviously looking, you got to go to 88, right? You got to find CeeDee Lamb. Where's 87? Where's Jake Ferguson? Dak can run with his legs. And who runs a great route? He runs across the field and gets underneath the linebacker trying to jam him right there at the goal line, gets back into the end zone and catches the ball with his hands, doesn't let the ball get into his shoulder pads, catches with his hands, secures it into his body and goes down. That's the thing. Jalen Tolbert has been doing this since training camp. They said he's been improving. That's the type of game I need to see. Maybe this helps with his confidence a little bit more. And then when they go back and watch this film, there's a lot of things they got to tidy up. But those are just some positive things that I got to see. Just looking at the game last night, I really haven't had a chance to go back and look at the all 22 and kind of see some of the mistakes, what they made, what they did well. I'll look at that later on this week. It's always telling when you get to look at those things because you see some of these young guys. When you look at some of the all 22, Tyler Guyton struggles with a pure pass rusher. If you try to bully Tyler Guyton, you're done. He's too strong. He's too physical. But guys that have multiple moves, go inside, go outside, bull rush, swim, he struggles versus some of those guys because I think a lot of times you look at Tyler Guyton and he's guessing. And he's trying to guess what the move is. And when he doesn't guess right, it's a lot of Olay blocks that he has and that, hey, watch out, Dak, he's on the way. Some of those things is Tyler Guyton just being a rookie. Right. BB, on the other hand, is a little bit more sound at center where he's trusting his technique. My biggest problem on this offensive line isn't the two rookies. My biggest problem is out there on the right-hand side in Terrence Steele.
Yes.
You played him versus one of the best defensive players of all time in TJ Watt. TJ Watt has been wrecking this league since he got into the league. And you know where he went to school? He went to the University of Wisconsin and he tore it up in the Big Ten. I'm just telling you, he's a Badger. Listen, his brother, JJ, was really good. TJ might have a different gear than JJ had. And you put Terrence Steele out there and you asked Terrence Steele one-on-one to block this man. You didn't chip him a lot of times. You didn't roll coverage to his way. And that's why, Rich, talked about the 3-step drop back, trying to get the ball out quick because they knew TJ was there. But there's just some things they got to shore up. I mean, they had 400 plus yards of offense versus 280. I think the Steelers had. They whooped the Steelers in every category except on the scoreboard.
Fact.
That's the things they got. They got to stop settling for field goals. They got to stop turning the ball over in the red zone. And this team can be absolutely a decent team. Now, do I still think there's a lot of question marks for this Cowboy roster? Unfortunately, there is. I still don't understand how we haven't gone out and gotten help. I still don't understand where Dalvin Cook is. Where is Dalvin Cook? Can we please put Dalvin Cook in? Zeke, here's the thing about Zeke, Rich. I think Zeke, he's got to have some rhythm. You can't play Zeke one series, give him 2 rushes, 1 rush, he blocks. He does great in pass pro. And then you sit him out for 2 series and he comes back. That's not the type of running back Zeke is. Now, could Zeke be washed? Sure. But we'll never know if he's just getting 4 or 5 carries a game. And then you don't really give him any rhythm in those carries. And so that's just some things I need to see fixed, because they got a tough matchup with Detroit next. That's a team that is playing well. They have weapons all over the field. Gosh, I hope Deron Bland is back sometime soon, because we need some help in this secondary at the corner position. Obviously, you're not going to see Justin Fields again. There's not a lot of Justin Fields in the leagues. Unfortunately, you're going to see Jared Goff next. Then you're going to see Brock Purdy.
Right.
You can see Jalen Hurts.
The fact that we're going to see Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff, obviously, he's way better than Justin Fields. But however, there is, that if you made Jared Goff a 100% passer, your chance is probably going to go up that you're going to beat Detroit, because Jared Goff, he's decent, but he ain't like the top tier. He ain't no Patrick Mahomes or nothing like that. You put a little pressure on Jared Goff, make him move around a little bit, he will make some mistakes. Like even in the game that we played with them last year, if you make him into a passer, he will give you the ball plenty of times throughout the game. Like if our defense can hold up a little bit better than what they did against the Steelers as far as the run game, we will beat Detroit as well, because Detroit and Dan Campbell's going to come in there and they're going to try to run the game. They're going to try to pound the rock every single opportunity they can. And Dan Quinn is one who will never give up on the run, so he's okay with getting 3 to 4 yards every single down, because 3 times of that, you probably 4th and 2 or something like that, or maybe even a first down. So he's okay with handing the ball off. He really don't want Jared Goff back there like passing 30 or 40 times every time he drops back. And I know Dan Quinn is not going to be afraid of our pass defense at all, because we're missing those stars. We're missing Michael Parsons. We probably won't have D-Law to rush the passer. But if the defense can play like they did against Pittsburgh, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I think our chances will be just as good to beat the Lions as it was beating the Steelers. Obviously, for me, the offense really got to get into a rhythm and get 7 points on a first possession. Taking the ball and not deferring until after halftime and you want to get out to a good start, that is all great. That sounds good. That looks good. But going down and only getting 3 points to get the field goal, your very first possession, that is a downer to me. I'm like, we did all that just to, and you know what? It's not even like getting down the field on their first possession. They will only go and make it like beyond the 50-yard line and kick a field goal. To me, that's a wasted possession. To me, that is a wasted of getting the ball the first time in the game. Like, you might well just defer if you're going to do that. Like, if you ain't getting 7, just defer. And I know they say the Cowboys are great front runners, which is kind of true. But this, like, we week 5, week 6, and we have yet to probably score on our opening possession. Like, we have yet to get 7 points. We get 3 all the time. We have no problem kicking the field goal from like the 40. But we got to get in the end zone. We got to get 7 versus Detroit. We got to get 7 versus the 49ers. We just got to get 7. We got to put the pressure on the other team to come down and get 7 on their possession. If all they got to get is just 3 points and maybe score and take the lead, then the pressure goes back on Dallas, because now they down 10-3. Like, we just can't continue to do that, man, and not getting points on our very first possession. But I like Detroit. I think they're very beatable. They're going to come in very mad based on what happened last year with them, where number 70 didn't report. Like, that still is my story. But they're going to be mad and be angry, man. They're going to be coming in trying to get revenge, because they thought they was going to get that revenge in the playoffs last year. But unfortunately, we lost to Green Bay. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna
Yeah,
be hyped.
and Dan Campbell, the type of coach that he is. He's going to take some opportunities. He's going to take some risks.
Mm,
You talked about making Jared Goff a passer. He's not had the greatest of years. I mean, he's over 1,000 yards passing. I think he's got 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I mean, he's not having the greatest of years. But the thing about the Lions is when they get that run game going, they're a dangerous group. So you got to control the line of scrimmage again. You're going to be without DeMarcus Lawrence. Micah Parsons, they say probably not going to play. They're hoping Michael would be back after the bye week. You get the bye week after Detroit. Carson has an opportunity to play this week. They don't know yet. They're waiting to hear back about Tyler Guyton. They're still waiting about Nealand. You're probably not going to have Deron Bland, although they were hoping this was the game he was coming back. I assume that the 49er game after the bye week, we're going to see a lot of these guys back. So you're going to go into this game versus Detroit. Now, good thing is at home. You have Cowboy Nation in the building, hopefully getting loud, but you're going to be without a lot of your big pieces again, which means the other guys on this team that make millions of dollars got to step up and make plays. This defense has to rally to the football and tackle, which they did really well last night, versus a good running team in the Pittsburgh Steelers. But they're going to have to do it because the Detroit Lions are even better at it. That offensive line for Detroit is very, very good. They run downhill, and they have 2 guys in that backfield that run. And when they get in open space, they are electric. And then, when they get that run game going, that play action game that they have can be deadly. So a lot of things they got to fix. Obviously, it's a shorter week because you played on Sunday night, almost into Monday morning. That Cowboys didn't get back into Dallas till late this morning, trying to figure out how to get some guys healthy, get some guys some treatment. It's going to be interesting to see because this is the measuring stick, right? To beat the Steelers, okay, they were 3-1. It could have been an empty 3-1 to me, really. But this is the team in the Detroit Lions that everybody talked about at the beginning of the year was one of those contenders in the NFC up there, with the 49ers and be able to compete with teams like the Chiefs and teams like the Ravens and people like that. So we're going to find out. Obviously, we got to keep winning because there's a team in Washington that keeps finding a way to beat teams. Jaden Daniels continues to look good for the Commanders. So there's going to be 2 good matchups. Dan Quinn's got them playing really, really well. But at the end of the day, I expect the Cowboys to come out and fight versus the Lions. It's always a good matchup. There's no love lost between these 2 teams. The Lions thought they got cheated last year. The people that wear the red and the white, the red and black, the black and white stripes didn't think they reported. That's how it worked out. It didn't work out for them. Maybe they should tell their coach kick field goals, stop going for it on 4th down. I don't want to hear that from Lions. They're still talking about the no pass interference call from the playoffs back when Tony Romo played. I get so tired of hearing about that. You had to not check in. It's not difficult. You tried to trick the Cowboys and you end up tricking the referees who actually mattered. So, like you said, Rich, they're going to come in with some animosity because it's a lot of the same players from both sides. I think for me, this game is just about trying to stay as healthy as possible. And then, like you said, can we put some drives together where we telling Brandon Aubrey, you're going out to kick an extra point, right? Instead of us looking up and it's Brandon Aubrey from 53 yards. I love that we have a great kicker. Don't get me wrong. Brandon Aubrey is going to come. There's going to be some spots where he comes down and wins football games for us. Love the fact that we got a guy like that. But golly, we got to find a way to put the ball in the end zone. That's what the NFL is about. Good teams find ways to score touchdowns, right? Middle of the pack teams and teams at the bottom tier of the NFL kick field goals or punt the football. And right now, we're a kick a field goal or punt the football type of team. And I don't want to see more games where I'm relying on Dak Prescott and this offense to be perfect at the end of the 4th quarter to find a way to win football games. A long road ahead of us. Obviously, the injury bug hurts. But this team's got to find a way to continue to keep winning. They got to win these ugly games, I think, at this point with the guys that are out.
Right. And I think one of the keys for me going into this Lions game is going to be the secondary. The Lions do have some speed at wide receiver. And I don't want to look up and see Williamson behind the secondary for a touchdown. Like when that guy comes in the game, you have to know that all he's doing is running a straight streak. He's going right to the end zone. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to recognize that and adjust the coverage. Maybe don't be in no cover two or nothing like that because you know he's just going to break that and go right up the seams a little bit. I do not want to see another case of Jared Goff doing like a Derek Carr type like plays where he's doing a lot of play action. He just bombing it over our secondary's head with Jameis. I
Yeah.
don't want to see that at all. So we do got to respect they deep ball, but we also got to respect that they have St. Brown as well, who just comes across the middle of the field a lot of the times. And I think they also have a nice little Sam Laporta at tight end.
Yeah.
So our defense got to step up. But with Detroit, it definitely starts with their run game. And if we are able to make Jared Goff a passer on third downs, third and long, 3rd and 8, or something like that, I love our chances to win. I think our defense can step up and they can probably guard a little bit, but we got to put him in those situations where he is behind the sticks. Okay, no 3rd and 2. Everything has to be
Yeah.
3rd and 8 and beyond. All
Yeah.
right. And we got to play great defense and be able to put some pressure on him. I mean, I'm glad we was able to finally get to Justin Fields a little bit because the week before that we was not able to touch that quarterback at all. When we played the Giants, we didn't touch Daniel Jones at all. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson, we barely touched him too. But it was great to see that we got to Justin Fields. But like you mentioned earlier, the Steelers O line is kind of shaky a little bit. They was missing some pieces. But the key to this game here is going to be our secondary. They got to step up. They can't let plays over the top of them. And we got to get some pressure on Jared Goff. And we also have to limit their run game. Dan Campbell's going to hand the ball off every
Oh,
single
for
time if
sure.
he can. So we got to limit that a little bit. We got to make sure he wants to drop back with Jared Goff sometimes, and we do that by limiting on first and second downs their running attempts and the yards that they get. We tackled pretty well yesterday.
Yeah.
Tackling really wasn't an issue like it was in prior games. So let's continue to wrap up and make nice little tackles and make Jared Goff beat 3rd and 8 every single time. We do that, we win. And like you said, the offense definitely got to continue to step up. Dak Prescott, CD Lamb, I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on with that dynamic, but they better get it together, all right, and start that chemistry going and catching passes, stop yelling at each other on the freaking sideline. And, bro, you just got to step up. I know CD's getting double covered. He's getting physical with those DBs, but he got to stop crying, get open, catch the ball. And if he don't catch the ball, be a nice little happy decoy for somebody else to catch the ball. So I think that's what really made that last play on that touchdown because CD was able to draw like 3 people as he was crossing the field. And like you mentioned, Jalen Turbert was able to go underneath and be wide open on the freaking slant. So GG's to that. But they need to be on the same page and we got to get 7. No more threes. No more threes. I'm tired of threes. Threes are good, but 7s are better.
Yeah, and I think for the Cowboys offense, I think a lot of times teams are trying to take away 88, and the Cowboys got to be patient with that, which means you got to make them pay when you're double teaming and you're sliding coverage to 88. This is not new for Dak Prescott. It's not, right? He's had 88 before. His name was Dez Bryant. And listen, I used to see teams put 2 corners on Dez Bryant like it was a punt return to try and eliminate what Dez Bryant can do. So it's not the first time he's seen that. He's got a good tight end. They found a way to dump the ball out the backfield to Dowdle. Lupke played well out the backfield yesterday. So they just, again, I think this season is all about the others, right? Jerry Jones kind of put us behind the 8 ball with some of the transactions and how long he waited. You didn't get some of those talented guys. Now, do the Cowboys have cap space? Yes. You got a 3rd-string quarterback in Trey Lance that's just sitting there ready for a trade that could go to a team that needs a quarterback that's struggling at quarterback. Why not let Trey Lance go and try and further his career somewhere else? You need another pass rusher. You could use another wide receiver. I would be perfectly fine with another linebacker or corner as well. So there's still some things I want to see before we get to the trade deadline from these Cowboys. But this week versus Detroit, it's going to be a physical in the trenches game. And I want to see the Cowboys come out and play physical. Again, I'm never going to pick against the Cowboys. I don't care who they play. If they played the Chiefs tomorrow, I'd pick the Cowboys. I'm going 21-17 Cowboys. They find a way to get the ball in the end zone and come away with a hard-fought battle versus a good Detroit team.
Right. And I like what you just said too. And we'll get on the trade after this. But my prediction for the game, I love the Cowboys getting into the 30s because they should have had 30 last night, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So I would go 35-24 Cowboys over the freaking Lions because I think we finally going to be able to get it done. And I think we finally going to score on our very first possession. We're going to get 7. We're going to get a nice little touchdown. But before we get out of here real quick, you did talk about trades. There is one guy that's out there, Devontae Adams. How do you feel about him coming to the Dallas Cowboys? And if should Jerry Jones pull that trigger on Devontae Adams?
I mean it's a yes and a no for me. Does the thought of bringing in 17 look good? Yeah, it looks great, right? Team him up with CeeDee Lamb. Who do you cover? But financially, it doesn't make sense, right? You know, Devontae Adams is at the end of his career. He's, I don't know. Like, if he were to become a Dallas Cowboy, I wouldn't be upset. I would love the opportunity to see, Dak have 2 all-pro premier wide receivers. I mean, the Bears gave Caleb Williams 2 of them. Mm-hmm. They went and got Keenan Allen. They got DJ Moore, I think is amazing. They went and drafted a young wide receiver. But I think the Cowboys have pieces. I like Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cook's been dealing with the injury, goes on IR. I like Jalen Tolbert. Some of these young guys got to step up. I wouldn't mind seeing the Cowboys go and make a move to try and get another wide receiver, but I just don't know if financially Devontae Adams is the right guy. There's going to be some teams. I really am surprised that he has not moved yet. I'm surprised that like the Jets have not gone and got him. The Chiefs need a wide receiver with Rashee Rice going down for the year. There's some teams that need a wide receiver. I fully expect Devontae Adams to be gone before the trade deadline. He obviously doesn't want to play in Las Vegas. They obviously don't want him anymore. So, I would love to have him in Dallas, but I also wouldn't mind going and seeing us go get us another premier pass rusher. There's one in New York that doesn't want to play for the Jets anymore, that played for Philadelphia. I'd love to have him come to Dallas. That would be nice. And then, obviously the Cowboys, there's premier guys that are not going to be moved in the NFL, but the Cowboys got to do something. These injuries are fine versus the Steelers, but you're not going to get away with that versus the 49ers. You're not going to get away with that versus the Lions, the Chiefs, the Ravens.
Right.
So they got to do something. And this is where Jerry Jones talked about all that all in during the offseason. And he got all of us Cowboy fans to fall for it once again. I'm included, right? When he said, I'm going all in this offseason, I was like, hell yeah, it's about damn time, Jerry. But we just didn't understand what his all in meant. He only had 2 chips. He didn't have a full stack of chips to go all in with. So, right. Sure, the Cowboys got to do something to improve this roster. But unfortunately, what do we keep hearing, Rich? Is that they like the guys in the building, is what I keep hearing. We like who we got at this position group. We like the guys in the building. Okay, great. I'm glad you like them. Unfortunately, they are not helping us win football games. So right.
And I'm so crazy and delusional that I'd be totally okay with a Devontae Adams rental for the year. But yeah, I would only be good with that if we continue to play well and we play good. So maybe hold off on the next couple weeks, and if we win like these next 2 or 3 games and we are back at the top of the division, go all in and get Devontae Adams for a rental, because that is a whole lot of other teams do that on a yearly basis, and sometimes they end up in the doggone Super Bowl based off a yearly rental. I do know one guy that we probably missing as well. He actually played pretty well this past weekend, with Stephon Gilmore. He can still go out there and attack the ball and get interceptions, kind of like what he did with the Minnesota Vikings, who is 5-0 right now. The Minnesota Vikings.
But they're not going to give Stephon Gilmore up. See, this is the problem, though, Rich, is that you knew Deron Bland was going to be out for the first 5, 6, 7 weeks of the season. Stephon Gilmore knew your organization. He knew the building. He knew the guys in that locker room. They loved him. Those are the things that's frustrating, and especially when you look up, like you said, and he's in Minnesota locking people up, intercepting passes to win the football game for him over there in London that the whole NFL family got to see because it was on the first game on, and you're sitting there going, man, what if we would have had that guy? You see a guy like Derrick Henry tearing it up right now. who is linked to the Cowboys. The Cowboys, Derrick Henry said the Cowboys never even called me. I wanted to play for the Cowboys, never even called me.
Right.
So those are the frustrating things for me as a Cowboy fan, because you see these guys that are still playing well that you could have gone and got in the offseason, and you just sat on your hands and didn't do anything because you keep telling the Cowboy fans, we like the guys in this building.
Right.
So
All
I'm
players that
just
have like in the past just ruined the Cowboys games. Like Aaron Jones, still pretty good. Josh Jacobs, still pretty good. Derrick Henry, still pretty good. Stephon Gilmore, still pretty good. All those people kind of wanted or would have paid for the Cowboys if they just picked up the phone. I mean,
absolutely.
when we got destroyed by Aaron Jones and I saw that he was going to be a free agent, I was like, yeah, the Cowboys definitely going to try to get that guy because he's still pretty good. And we end up with Zeke. Nothing wrong against Zeke, but he ain't Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones loves to play in Texas, and you can tell he loves to play in Texas because he won a Super Bowl in Texas. And every time he plays against the Cowboys, he have 3 to 4 touchdowns every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, with 2 different quarterbacks, he did it with Aaron Rodgers, and then he came back again and did it with Jordan Love. And he could have been had by the Cowboys, but hey, we chose not to go after him. But I would love to see Devontae Adams as a rental. I would love to see some of these other players as a rental just to turn our season around and give us that extra push, man. Like those type of transactions could be what that could turn the whole season around and have us playing in January. So
no, you're right.
Forget all that. We love the guys in our locker room. How about we love the guys in the locker room and we love this guy too that we about to bring in. So I mean,
I certainly hope next week when we get on this podcast, we're talking about another Cowboys win. Find a way to get gritty and just buckle down, stop the run, find a run game ourselves, eliminate the mistakes, eliminate turnovers, and score some touchdowns. But I'm gonna enjoy this week. Good Cowboy win. We'll enjoy it till Sunday.
Yeah, Victory Monday is always good to come up here and talk about the Cowboys after a nice little victory. They made it a lot harder than what it should have been, but hey, a win is a win, and we would take it. And we both got the Lions losing against the Cowboys this week. So Cowboys, please don't make us look crazy, and take care of your business. Get out to a fast start. Dominate on defense from start to finish, from quarter 1 to quarter 4. We want to see pure domination. We want to see effort. My man Esper loves to talk about effort. He wants to see effort from start to finish. We do that, we win the game easy, and we're going to come up here next week on Victory Monday and talk about, hey, we got 2 back-to-back victories, and we're going into the bye week to healthy up, and then we're going to come back and beat the 49ers. So, hey.
Yeah, I love it.
Silver and Blue Huddle is available on all your podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify. Make sure you guys go take a listen. It does drop a little bit earlier on those platforms than it does on YouTube, so you can check it out maybe 30 minutes from now on those podcast platforms. So make sure you drop a follow Expert, follow me, YouTube, all our different platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, wherever. We everywhere you think that we're not, so we are. So Silver and Blue Huddle, we'll check you guys out next week. Peace out.